All right, what you're looking at here is the frontal part of my lawn between the house and the highway, and you can see the dark trails that finally wind their way back to the well pump. And this winter, need my well investigated and had a pump truck back up in there, and he was stuck. And so in order to get him out, he finally had to call his boss, and he came out with a three-quarter ton truck and a rope just like that. And he pulled it out. You could see the rope lengthen, stretch, almost like it was going to break, and then it just recoiled. And as it recoiled, it pulled it out. And when he was finished, I told him, I said, hey, I've got to have that rope. And so he figured out a way for me to get a rope like that. They're not easy to find. And I did get a rope like that. And he said, what you're going to have to do is learn how to tie a bowline knot. And so once you learn that, you'll be able then to tie knots that are secure on the ends of each truck that's doing the pulling. And the knot will not break. It's one of the strongest knots in the world. And so get your rope, learn how to tie the bowline. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to learn how to tie the bowline. And if you'll notice, what we do is form a right over left loop in the rope, and we go over the bar that we're securing to. We come up through the loop in the rope, and just like that. And then we're going to have to get some slack. We're going to go underneath the standing part of the rope, and then jump back up through the loop alongside the way we just came in, and tighten it down just as you see. And again, that's the bowline knot. It's not going to slip. And as I said before, it's one of the strongest knots in the world. Here's a second way of tying the bowline knot. Rather than tie it around a railing, take about 5-6 feet of rope and form the same loop we talked about before, right over left, come through the eye of the loop, wrap it around the standing end of the rope as we did before, and then back through the eye of the loop going the opposite way, and tighten it down, snug it up. And what you've got then is a loop that you can throw to somebody who's in distress, somebody who's on an edge of a cliff, or they're out in the water. Of course, you're going to need longer line than that. But that will then secure itself nicely around whoever it is thrown to, and it isn't going to slip and crack your ribs, and it is not going to break. And if your rope is long enough, somebody can haul you up. And as you can see, you're now being hauled up. This is a series of knots which will start with what's called a half hitch. And you can see how I did that there. Bent the rope around the bar, bent it around the bar. I'm going to do it again. And so this is the way we did it the first time. But now we've been around the bar, that's a half hitch. But now you can do it again and get a more secure knot, what's called a double half hitch. And that knot is there to stay. It's not gonna break when you pull on it. All right, this knot is called a clove hitch. And there's two ways to tie a clove hitch. And what you want to do if you're not already wrapping it around something is do the double loops as I just indicated there, and then slip that over whatever pole you want, or whatever it is you're securing the rope to, and that's your clove hitch. Here's standard way to tie the clove hitch. It's already something you want to tie around. So notice I'm going around over the top of the bar, and then back underneath and through the loop that I originally used to go over the top of the bar, and that's the same clove hitch, and it's secure. And now this is what I call a reverse version of the clove hitch. And rather than what we're looking at now, that's the clove hitch, what we're going to do here is just go over the rope and then underneath the railing and come back down and underneath the loop. And you can see here the distinctive difference between the two is that both end strands of the rope are now being pulled in the same direction. And each knot is equally strong and can be substituted for one another, just whichever is handiest for you to tie. This knot is what is called a taut line hitch. And as you can see, form a loop, then go under, I'm going to do it again, form a loop, then go under the strand of rope that you've just looped one time, then do the same thing a second time, then bring it around behind, and then go under the loop that you formed from coming from the backside. And there you see the taut line hitch. You can see what it looks like. It's got 3 strands. And the nice thing about this line is that it's slip line. And so you can adjust the length of the rope however you need by just, see, it's going to stay. It's going to stay wherever you pull it to. But you can adjust the length of the rope by pulling as I just did. And to demonstrate that further, I'm just going to do a half hitch here at the opposite end. We're going to say that's the top of a tent. And down here is your stake. And what you want to do is just lay this over your stake and then pull it taut so that your tent will stay firm and erect. So we're going to then start from the tent, go to the stake, and then, as you can see, we can slip that down tight around the stake if we like. But look, we've got too much rope. So the way to tighten that rope is just to slide the knot on down the rope, just like it is there, and that will stay right where it is that you left it. All right, the knot we're going to tie here is just a standard figure-8 knot. And it's a very easy knot to tie. Take the loop in your hand, make it, wrap it around your hand, slip it up through the loop that you've already made, and there you are. It's a very firm knot. It isn't going to slip, and it's used principally as a means of shortening the rope you already have and holding it at a particular length. And then you can use it in combination with other knots also. So here's another way then to shorten a rope, the length of a rope, and have something also to tie to. This is what's called the butterfly knot. As you can see, wrapped it around the hand 3 times, back to front 3 times. Now I'm going to take the back one, move it to the front. I'm going to take a little slack off of what is the remaining back one, put it underneath the other 2, pull it through, and pull the other 2 ends, and there's your butterfly loop. And we're going to use that in conjunction with the bola knot at a later time. All right, this is a method of tying 2 ropes together, and it doesn't matter if the diameters of the ropes are the same, just 2 different sizes, types of rope, and this is what's called the square knot. And to do that, you go right over left, so go right over the yellow rope, bend the ends, and come back under the yellow rope, and there you've got your square knot. This is another version of tying 2 ropes together, and it's called the sheets bend. And form a bight. There's nothing tied in my left hand, just form a bight. Slip the end of the second rope up through the bight, and pick it up, go around both the yellow strands of rope, slip it underneath the rope that you just pulled through, and then tighten them together just like that. It looks a lot like a square knot, but it isn't. It's a more elegant knot, and it's equally strong. So what we're going to do now is the trucker's hitch. And as you can see, on the far side of the trailer there, I've already tied a bola knot, and I've tied a butterfly knot right on top of the baggage there in the trailer. And now what we need to do is act like, well, suppose it's a load of hay or furniture, whatever it is that you want to snug down. But it has to be secure so that it doesn't flop around on your trailer, fall out in the highway or something. And so we're going to go up through that butterfly knot after going around the second end, that rail right where my hand is, and we're going to pull it tight. And then what we're going to do is, to keep that from slipping, as it has a tendency to do, pull a second thread through the butterfly knot. And you're liable to lose a little tension there, but that's all right, because you will regain it as you pull once again. And now all you need to do is secure it. I'm going to secure that with a version of a half hitch. It's called a slip knot version of the half hitch. It's tied exactly in the same way, except you put a loop through the end of the line. And the virtue of that is that when it comes time to undo the knot, you will be able to undo it very easily. Just like that. And then jiggle the rest around, and you can unload your cargo. This is our final knot, and it's called, among other things, a getaway hitch, bank robber's knot. So suppose you're up to no good out in the Old West and you need to secure your horse to something while you're robbing the bank, and you need it to secure it in such a way that you can get out of there in a hurry. So this is a type of knot you're going to tie, and just as you tighten that down there, you can see that it is taut and the horse cannot get away. But now the robbery is over, you're back, and what you need to do is money in the saddlebags, pull a rope, and you're gone.